TV, Vietnamese American Arizona Television.
Hello and welcome to VAA TV Real Estate Talk Show with Scott Barlowe and Linh. Investing can be tricky, especially for beginners. However, with the right knowledge and understanding, you can achieve success in your investment. Our talk show is designed to bring out great topics for investors like you. We hope you enjoy the show and welcome to submit any feedback during and after the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to VAATV.com, the Real Estate Show with Mr. Scott Barlowe and Linh. So today we will have some very interesting information about the investment, right?
Yes.
Mr. Scott. Okay, please share with our audience what you have today.
One of the things I want to start off with, in the last couple of weeks, we've talked about where interest rates are going.
Yes.
As everybody's probably pretty aware that the Fed does not seem to be interested in making any rapid changes to the federal rate. But across the mortgage industry, the rates for mortgages has dipped just ever so slightly. If you recall, last week we were just slightly over 7. This week we're just slightly below 7. And that's just averaging a number of different companies and what their rates are. The big thing to think about is that we're probably going to be locked into this cycle of relatively close to 7%, at least for some months into the future. Now, a lot of economists are sort of predicting that it'll probably be into 2025 before we start seeing some substantial reductions. There's a lot of positive signs, but also remember we're coming up on an election year, and whatever party gets in can have a significant change or influence on how the Fed works in our monetary policy.
Right.
But there are a couple of interesting things that are going on. As most people may or may not be aware, the United States is part of the G7, which is kind of an economic group of larger, more industrialized, wealthier countries. Canada being one of those countries, just recently here this past week, they lowered their interest rates from their national bank. And in the European banking system, there's been some downward pressure on there. So there's some people that are out there speculating that with our trading partners making those types of changes, that surely the Fed will pay attention to that, especially as a lot of the inflation comes under control. So we may be seeing a trend here in the future. We may see it go down a little bit.
Yes.
One interesting fact that came up this week is that when you really get down to it, inflation is pretty well under control except for one thing, and that's the cost of housing.
Yeah, that's true.
And it just makes it really tough. We have a shortage of homes available, although there are slightly more coming onto the market, not just here in the Phoenix market, but nationwide. But it's still not enough to be absorbed by the shortfall of homes that we have available for people. And the affordability of homes is still pretty hard for a lot of folks.
Yes.
But I would say on that standpoint, for people who are looking to buy, you may end up buying, and it may very well be into next year before you start seeing some more competitive interest rates where you may want to refinance.
Right.
On the same token, commercial real estate is also having a bit of a problem with liquidity. And of course, their rates typically are slightly higher than residential financing rates. They don't have the same types of things available to them where, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, those are all backed by government. Whereas many of the commercial loans out there come from regional banks who hold their own paper. In other words, they make the loan, and instead of packaging it up and selling that loan product back into the federal process, what they do is they actually hold that loan, and it generally it may be amortized out for 20 years, but typically they refinance on those after about 5 to 7 years. So some of the commercial folks out there are probably going to feel a little bit of a squeeze if they can't get that refinancing done. The speculation is that may lead to other or to commercial properties needing to be sold so that a new loan product can come in. Biggest problem, though, is the regional banks, especially the ones that do the smaller types of businesses, they just don't have a lot of liquidity right now. Probably the best source for funds on the business side is the SBA, and I know SBA loans have been running under 6%. So there are some opportunities out there. I know a lot of people, they do not like to go after the SBA loans because of some of the requirements for repayment, but at this stage, it might be one of your best bets is to go through an SBA program.
I see. Wow, that's good. So when usually people invest on the commercial, is tend to have more headache than the residential, or
well,
how is that go?
It's a little bit different cycle. On the residential side, we're all used to the idea of either a 15 or a 30-year fixed mortgage. So that makes it pretty simple. But on the commercial side, and depending on the type of property, you may have different lenders. For example, the bank that lends on office or retail space may not lend on industrial space. And the reason being is banks, just like realtors and a lot of other folks, they develop their expertise in a particular area. And so they know how to properly value property and how to anticipate what the market changes and market forces are going to be on those properties. But generally speaking, most of the commercial loans, and I wouldn't say all because there's a multitude out there, but I'm just talking in generalities. Most commercial loans are not amortized out like a residential. You may see them 15 to 20, maybe very rarely 25 years. And in many cases, after 5 to 7 years, there is a time where the banks have a call, and there is basically a refinancing process. And what that does is it protects the bank so that if there are changes such as we've seen in our market now, that those banks can come back and negotiate that new amount so that they're protected. But if there's not funds available, if the banks don't have money to lend, what happens then? So then you start seeing commercial properties going on the market, and in some cases it'll force the prices down because there is liquidity out there. There are people who are sitting on the sidelines that have a good amount of capital, and that's well known that the amount of capital that's sitting out of the market right now is pretty high. But by the same token, those people that have that amount of capital, they realize that there may be an opportunity with lower prices coming up. So we may see towards the end of the year, if a number of the commercial folks are having difficulty getting liquidity, they may be selling their properties, and you may see new investors coming into it.
Okay, that's good.
A couple of interesting other notes here that I wanted to bring to everybody is that you probably have noticed that around town there's an awful lot of commercial construction going on. One of the things that happened after the recession in 2008, and if you think back historically here in the Phoenix, and Arizona in general, we've had very high peaks and valleys in our real estate market. It's sort of a boom or a bust economy. So when things were going great, they were going great. But when they weren't going good, they were really bad. And so MAG, the Maricopa Association of Governments, after the last recession, they looked for ways where they could start to hedge on what was happening to kind of even things out. And so they started looking for ways to bring in industry here. And if you look around, probably in about the last 10 to 15 years, there's been a tremendous increase in the amount of high-tech companies that have come in here. And there's more coming. I mean, Facebook, Amazon, Intel, all of these companies, pardon me, are bringing in call centers. They're bringing in engineers. They're bringing in tech people. As well as you've got places like LG building a battery plant in Queen Creek. You've got Taiwan Semiconductor building a huge plant on the northwest side of Phoenix. but you've got multiple people, multiple companies bringing in high tech to Phoenix. And so what that's doing is, because those are the types of businesses that seem to weather the effects of recession, because we're all needing better and faster computing.
Right.
Doesn't matter whether the economy is going bad or not. But those types of companies are the ones that kind of lead you out of a recession. And so they're hedging the bet on that recessionary effect. But at the same token, they're bringing people in here, and because we've got a shortage of homes, it's adding to the inflation, because the value of homes goes up when it's short.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
But the big thing to come away with just what I was talking about with that high tech is that the federal government has put out a $280 billion with a B federal aid program, and that's aimed specifically at developing here in the United States, developing high tech industries.
Wow.
So that's something.
Everything gonna be high tech, like robot and
robotics,
AI and all
you
that.
name it. Yes.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that I want to talk about before we move into some of our other subjects is, and this is in the news. We talked a few months ago, and we've talked several times about the National Association of Realtors settlement during their big court cases. A lot of the effects of the court case are going to be coming to pass here soon. Originally, July 15th was given as the date that it would become effective. The courts have gotten involved. There's more companies that have signed on to the whole settlement, but it looks like August 17th will be the date that the National Association of Realtors will enforce the new rules. So just as a quick reminder, the sellers are no longer required, and not that they actually were, but the sellers need not agree to a co-broke for the buyer's representation. They don't need to offer one. They can if they want, but they don't need to. The second thing is that the MLSs will no longer show what a co-broke fee is. So if I'm representing a buyer, and I'm buying your property, or my client is buying your property, but I haven't made arrangements to have compensation, my client may approach you in their contract and ask for some type of a credit so that I can be compensated.
I see.
So it may work out the same. I think we're going to see some growing pains when that first happens, but we're already transitioning to it. I know I do a lot of listing of properties, and I've already gone to zero for the amount for the co-broke. But at the same token, the many of the commercial brokers are used to the idea that you may not have a published co-broke amount, and that they can come in and make that request in the contract. And indeed, that's what they're doing. So from the commercial side, it's sort of business as usual. I think on the residential side, I think you'll see some growing pains. So, but the big thing is August 17th is the date, and the courts will sign off on it in July. So we're nearing a major change in the way that we normally do business.
Wow.
So that's sort of the news that I've got this week.
Oh, okay. Very interesting for that. So then we really have no worry about now the business. I mean, the economy is still there, but the interest rate and all that.
Everything seems to be pretty steady.
Whenever the opportunity comes, wrap it, right, and take it.
Exactly
and do the right things. Just invest whatever you like. But the main thing about that you saying that of course they do the investment, but they have to do their own investigation for if that's the right thing for them. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. For that.
But ask questions, talk to experts.
Yeah.
Get the information you know or you need so that you feel confident in making that kind of a move.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So when I know, in like a few last time when the few talk show you mentioned a lot on the cases, right?
Yes.
On different cases for the investment. and very interest to people because they like to learn from the experience, from bad
Yep.
experience to good experience, and they can get some information from there. So you have
bet.
anything today?
Well, I do.
Yeah.
And this is, I'm sort of obliquely involved in part of it with one of my clients. But there was a Channel 10 news story that came out last month. But it referred, and there was a heading on Channel 10 Fox News on their website, and it was called "Chaos at the Canal" or at the Canal. Sober living home activity investigated at Mesa luxury condos.
Wow.
Long and the short of it is this: we're in this state. You may not realize it, but there are homes that can be used in neighborhoods for assisted living, adult care.
Yeah.
In this particular case,
Behavior care.
all kinds of things. But those are primarily residential uses where those folks are staying there as part of a contract, and the contractor is working under the license with the state to provide behavioral or health services to their clients that are staying at these properties. In this particular one, and there's been a number of companies that have been found guilty of it, but what they were doing is they were specifically targeting Native Americans. And
wow.
they were typically Native Americans who had some type of a substance abuse issue, whether it be drugs, alcohol, or a combination of both. And the particulars on this one is that they speculate that they were bringing these people in, and mind you, there's a lot of money from these types of treatments.
Oh yes. The service.
The services
that
per
the
person
government pay for
can generate thousands of dollars for the service provider.
Exactly.
But in this particular case, what it became apparent was that these people that were staying in a residential condo were not receiving services. If anything, they were being continued to be given drugs.
Oh, no.
And so instead of getting better, they were either continuing to use drugs or, in fact, even getting worse. And the neighbors started complaining about drinking, drug use outside the apartment. The state has investigated it and come out and declared, both the governor and the attorney general have declared that it's fraud. They look at it as one of the biggest, well, the exact words from the governor were this: one of the biggest scandals in the history of the state of Arizona.
Oh, boy.
And it's specifically about Medicare, Medicaid, government-supported healthcare funds.
So where's the Department of Health in this case?
Well, they're assisting the attorney general in
I mean, like, this is a big thing. This is like something huge.
It is.
And
huge.
then like where are they? Where's the Department of Health?
Well, and that's,
they do
that's
this.
it. So now they're doing their investigation.
They should have do it like per year, right? Each year.
Oh, you would think so. You would think so. So I've got a list here. It's better than 5 pages, and I would guess that there's probably 30 different companies on each page.
Yeah.
And all of these companies have been suspended for violations of taking government funds to treat people for behavioral health.
And don't treat.
And they're not treating them. Not treating them at all. They're pocketing the money. Recently here, I had a client who had a property, and the particular property was set up as a behavioral health center. The company that leased the property had a long time history as being a behavioral health provider. And as it turns out, the company that was leasing it is one of the companies that's on this list of suspended companies. So the owner of the property and several of her other representatives and some other folks from my office, we went out there to actually do a physical inspection of her property. One of the problems was that some of the facilities there were not being cared for.
Oh my God!
But what we found when we got there was that it was even worse than what we had initially been told. 2 air conditioning units, electrical system. Electrical system was completely shut down. Not just a matter of not working, deliberately shut down.
Oh my God.
So, and that actually shut down one air conditioner. The other air conditioner that they were having problems with was doing the work for two, and the electrical system was only working on part of the property.
They pocket all kind of money, all those money, and they're not even
taking
take care of it.
Yep. And then in the kitchen facilities, they had disconnected the dishwasher. The dishwasher was disconnected and pulled out of the cabinet. The sink and the garbage disposal were leaking, and they were actually just using a garbage can as something to collect the water, and then taking the water and dumping it out.
Oh,
so
my
it was creating,
God.
it was creating tremendous liability for my client and damaging her property. So those are things that these groups can do. They're pretty unscrupulous. I look at this as less than a landlord-tenant issue and more as a criminal enterprise.
Yeah,
But
because they use it as business.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they front themselves as a business, but they pocket the money. So one of the biggest lesson that I would say that can come out of this is if you have a property and you know that they are dealing with this type of behavioral health type situation, and mind you, we got 150 companies here.
Yeah.
But there's literally thousands of companies out there that are doing good work.
They pay higher rents than the other.
Yes.
But they're paid for it.
That's right.
That's whatever that is. Yeah.
But you've heard me say it before, no one cares about your money as much as you do.
Yeah.
And we've talked about the ability to go out and look at your property. So this is one of those instances here where I think that my client's kind of kicking himself, going, gosh, I wish I had gone out there last year and done an inspection.
But like how long ago there was this thing going on?
At least 2 years.
At least 2 years before they get caught?
Yep. Oh yeah. So it's been going on for a while. But, the biggest thing is for the landlords, you should always get a set of eyes on your property inside at least once a year. Right. Even though your tenants are on a 5-year lease, there's nothing that prevents you. And it's actually allows you to go in during business hours and walk around the property
and find out.
See what kind of
because I know like some of the contract for the leasing those this type of business, they usually will take care of everything inside.
Yes.
So that's why the landlord would have a peace of mind that, okay, I lease this to these people doing this business. They want their business good, then they have to take care of the property. But this doesn't happen in this case.
In this case,
wow.
it's the same situation.
Or anywhere else, right? We don't know. Like they collect the money, but they mistreat they neglect the person.
They neglect the people and they neglect the property. So you got two. You got the folks that need help suffering, and then you've got the landlords who believe that they're doing the right thing, and so they're being taken advantage of. But you've got an opportunity to go out and take a look at your property. Like I've said before, go out and inspect. I know, like just in the last week, on one of my properties, I went out and I did an inspection.
You did? Okay.
Absolutely.
That's good. Yeah. I think we should. We have to do like annual checkup. I'm start doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have to because if we don't do it, then things go like worse. Then we can't even get a notice or anything like that. It's too late, right?
You can catch it in the act, and you can minimize any of the damages much sooner if you catch it that way.
Because I think like the investment is like to buy the house or the piece of property for people to lease. It's difficult to find a good tenant. It's difficult to find the right person that leasing and using the property, right?
Exactly.
So if people usually have a headache, they say, oh, they don't want to invest on real estate because of that. They would get a bad one and all that. But if you have a good system, you have a way to set up and all that, then you will bypass all those problems, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So like you think like right now, if they in this situation that things are then can they like evict them, or how does that work?
Yeah, they're looking at the idea of either getting those items repaired by the tenant, getting that done properly, and if the tenant doesn't take care of it, then they will start the process.
Is that like eviction. People still living there? Like
yes.
the person that?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Like who received care?
Yes.
Oh, still in there.
So it's just not a good situation any way you slice it. I mean, these people, they deserve to be treated better, and the landlord's property deserves to be treated with respect.
Yeah. So the landlord live near there, or they somewhere?
They live in close by.
Close by, right?
Yeah, the property's in one of the suburbs, but they live close.
So they hire people to do it. Oh, wow! This is very important because, like, usually when we rent it to the people that do business, they pay like triple the price of the normal prices. Right? Yeah,
sometimes they do. So, if something, usually, the old saying, if something's too good to be true, it usually is. Yeah. And so that's why you need to kind of pay attention to what's going on, and it is your property, so you do have the right to go look at it. Just give the proper notices and go out during business hours and take a look.
Yeah, I see so much things happening in this world.
Yeah, that's
just people just want a shortcut, want to do short term. And maybe they just want to be a king for a day or so. And then after that, everything gone, because just that mistake or whatever, the fraud that they committed. And there's so much things going on. Yeah.
Well, and think about it this way.
Yeah.
Those are our tax dollars that those people were
exactly.
Using.
Yeah. Because like whatever the government set up the fund for, each individual. So whoever that can use those funds, then have to use appropriately. Or
that's correct.
Or if somebody use it for them and then don't do the right thing for them, then that's really a crime.
Yep.
And then everybody work hard for those funds, for the people that need it. Oh, that's very bad. Yeah, we have to. Each of the cities is a citizen. They have to think that way. Like we have to do the right thing.
Exactly right.
To deserve. Every day we're working hard, but we do the right things, and then we will earn the reward. Yeah. So you think like right now it's a good time to start looking for any property to buy, or wait until spring, or like cool down a little bit? It's so hot outside. That's why.
That's a really good question. Typically, the summertime we still have a degree of movement. And the reason we have movement, especially for homes and rentals, is because if people are wanting to switch school districts, they want to be in the new home before August, because that's typically when a lot of the new
August start the spring, the new
school year.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but the funny thing is, with all of these new charter schools and everything, many more of those are going year round. Oh, so I'm not entirely sure that we're seeing the same movement in the summer.
Yeah.
And frankly, here this week, I think we're supposed to hit 107. I don't know about you. I mean, I like real estate, but I don't like going out when it's that hot.
Yeah. It's like you don't want to go anywhere. Oh, but I see like a lot of, they start using what you call it? Lock door or something, like they open door or something, like if whoever want to go see the house, then they just call in the office, get the number, and then get to see the house themselves.
Yeah, and that, unfortunately, I don't think that that's a good way to look at properties. I mean, obviously, having been a realtor, I have a key code that's on my phone permanently. I pay a subscription fee for that.
Yes.
But I've had odd situations. And let me just kind of throw one out to you. Is that somebody goes into a house
without nobody there,
without anybody there, and they see something that they want. What prevents them?
Yeah, the liability right there. Yeah.
And I mean, I remember this was back during the recession. But I remember when we had so many foreclosures.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there were people who would set it up so that when the house went into foreclosure, they arranged so that the door could be left open. And they went in after hours and they took all the appliances out and they sold them on a secondary market.
Oh my God.
So they were used appliances, but nevertheless, used appliances still have value.
Yeah, still have value. But some of the houses, if they go foreclose properly, there's a good high value.
Yeah.
They couldn't pay and they let it go.
It always amazes me how, when there's an opportunity, how some of these people will come up with ideas.
Yeah, go get all that. That's a lot of work, though. Take it out, bring it out, and all that. But
they weren't the ones that were moving the appliances weren't the masterminds.
No, the mastermind.
They were just the muscle.
So the worker.
And unfortunately, it's usually the worker bees who get arrested first.
Get caught for doing those. Yep. So that's true, because I see a lot of signs on the way that on each of the house that they listed for sale, and they say open block. I didn't know what the name, open house or something like that. But they say, if you want to take a look, call this number. And then I did try one time and called in and say, go get this number and then open up and look at it. I go, just like that?
Yep.
They say, yes, just like that.
So
I won't dare to open. I don't know what's going on in there.
2 years ago, there was a scam that was going on.
Yeah.
And you would get that same type of situation. But they wanted you to be a little more forthright with your identification.
Yeah.
So they
ask all kind of information.
All kinds of information. Yes. They want a copy of your driver's license, and you use your cell phone.
Yeah.
Then they would get to the point they wanted a copy of your one of your credit cards.
Yeah, they said just in case if something happened. There's just security.
And so some of those people were selling those credit card information. They were selling that.
Yeah.
So there's always seems to be some type of a scam when something's a little bit easy.
Okay. So I don't know, but like if I buy anything, I rather deal with face to face. The person would not even on the phone. I want to actually see the person. Go and talk directly to the person. If you want to make a deal, you want to buy something, you got to understand and know the person who you're dealing with. And if that person trustworthy, you have to look at their face. You have to look at them.
Yep. Yeah. And sometimes it's pretty easy to unravel some of these scams. Fortunately, with my background, it's a little easier for me. Because people can say like a lot of stuff, and if we're not careful and we trust them so much, we give everything out. Give all, because you think that person's going to help you to get a property or something, and you don't even know for sure. Then those will be causes. Like you share with them how to find a good tenant. I mean, a good realtor to work with too, right? Because you say like that person have to be enrolled into National Association of Realtors,
and they have their badge, or they have information.
They've got all of their information. And anybody that's a member of the National Association of Realtors, you can go to the National Association of Realtors website.
Yeah, check their face.
Put that name in there. You may not get a picture.
Oh no,
but you will definitely find out what brokerage they work for.
Okay. Yeah. So we have to be careful with those. Yeah. Well, whoever you're dealing with now, a lot of things happen out there.
There's some strange
things. And then, sometimes I see on the email that they say, oh, check out this receipt. Thanks for purchasing. This is your online receipt. I don't see that we buy anything.
That is a daily scam.
Oh,
and
so they make sure you check it, because if this is the right amount or not. And it's 900, 800, something like that. And then, we don't buy this. So what should we do? Just delete that email. Don't open it up, right?
Delete the email. Don't open it. One of the things they want you to do is they want you to open the file that's attached to it. If you open up the file, a lot of times it has a virus or something to it.
Oh, yes.
So that it can get into your computer. They can take control of it. I mean, I remember just 2 weeks ago, I was looking in my junk file, and here was an email, and it said, Scott, we've taken control of your computer. Pay us, some exorbitant fee, like $15,000 and we'll clear,
Oh my God.
Well, I know that they didn't have control of my computer. I have IT people that are in my computer all the time. And I've got lots of software and firewalls and that type of thing.
Like sometimes people say like, okay, your credit card has been charged for this amount. So when I check, before you even enter their link, you can go directly to your credit card, like phone number. You can always check to see the balance, anybody deducted out or something, right?
I can tell you, and this is kind of funny. About 3 weeks ago, I got a phone call, and it was somebody identified, it was a girl. She identified herself as working at Chase Bank Fraud Protection.
Oh.
And she says, somebody is trying to use your social security number to open up a credit card. Okay. Well, then she wants to transfer me to another person at Chase. So I talked to this gentleman, and he sounded foreign. And I'm listening to him, and he made a couple of comments, and he said, well, I need additional information from you. Oh. And I said, you're not getting any additional information from me. Our call is over.
Yeah.
And I called Chase, and they had nothing. So about a week later, I get a call. Once again, it's a young girl. Hi, we're from Bank of America.
Oh, wow.
Same thing.
Same thing again. And
then a third time it happened, and they were back at Chase, and I said, I don't understand why you guys just don't take me off your list, because I didn't fall for it the first time. I didn't fall for it the second time. I'm certainly not falling for it this time.
Right. Yeah, we have to be very careful, because it looks like when people offer you to like they know where you live and things, and then they start giving you information. Then before we go further or make appointment or even like let them do anything else, then say, okay, just hang up. Then I will call you back in a second or whatever, and then call the number that you have. Don't talk to the person that was on the phone.
Use your call-in number. In other words, if you, like with Chase, if you feel like you got a fraud issue, you go directly to their website, and they have their numbers there.
Yeah, for that. There's a lot of things like people always use your information to transfer, to do even money transfer, all that. Like you say yes, whatever the yes that you have to be careful with
exactly
those.
Right.
Yeah.
The big thing is they don't have all of the information necessary.
Right.
That's why they have to pretend to be looking out for your benefit.
Yes.
And so what they need to do is ask you questions and draw out additional information.
Yeah.
It's okay for them to give you whatever information they have, because they're not going any further. Do not give out any additional personal information. Because call the lender directly.
Yeah, directly. Because I think they want to capture the people who have a lot of curiosity, elder people, things like that. They just say, if the person that answers the phone that recognize their voice, and they know that they ask, because the person very didn't think that much.
That's right.
And then it's always gonna provide information that's not helpful for the situation.
But I know even with the title companies are getting attempts to do fraud with their clients. Yeah. And so in this day and age, it is definitely something that we all need to be aware of.
Yes.
Protect yourself. Don't give up information. If somebody's calling you and asking for information, that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
If somebody's calling you and they're giving you information, I'd even take that with a grain of salt, but I would definitely call the lender or the financial institution and verify that is indeed something legitimate.
Right. So anything that they call, like say, you are late on your payment, or you miss your payment, or you forgot to pay this bill, what bill, then don't even answer further with them, and just go back to your record.
Go back, yep.
Yeah, and find out with our record, because we can access to the bank now. They online, that's always there.
Exactly.
Access to the bank, or even check credit card, right?
Exactly.
For those. And IRS too, there's a lot of things happen with the IRS, the same thing. That they force you pay.
One thing I will tell you about the IRS, and people go, well, this is so-and-so with the IRS.
Yeah.
No, they do not call you. They send you a letter.
Right.
And so they send us something in writing the first time.
Right.
So do not fall for that.
Right, exactly. Because if
they call and they say you owe their money, or if you don't pay, then you're going to be like criminal or penalty. They're going to handcuff you.
No, that's not the way they work.
All those stuff. But before we get scared, I get scared before. And then I learned, like a lot of people share the information, the history of a prank call like that. So we have to be very careful.
Yes.
Just whoever that didn't know about their tactic, just not to be worried when people called in and asking that to pay something that never happened over the phone.
Exactly right.
Right. Okay. So I think we're gonna wrap up for today's talk show of the real estate investment, and we can see you guys next time. Right, Scott? Yeah.
That's right.
You take care, and you have to keep yourself very cool in Arizona. Bring the cooler with you, or even stay in the cool air, and just
drink plenty of water.
Drink water. Yes. Thank you for watching us, and see you next time.
Vừa qua, chương trình VAA TV xin kính chào, tạm biệt và xin hẹn gặp lại quý vị vào lần phát hình kỳ tới. Mọi chi tiết về thông tin thương mại và bảo trợ, xin mời quý vị hãy liên lạc về địa chỉ email vaatelevision@gmail.com và số điện thoại là 480 289 9816, 480 289 9816, website vaatv.com và vaaznews.com. Xin kính chào, tạm biệt.